Hi everyone, my name's Ben. I'm originally from Barnsley in South Yorkshire. I now live in Surrey in London. My background originally was in physio. I've since moved into more personal training. I now run my own company in Mayfair, London. My tasks involve obviously training my own clients to reach their health and fitness goals, and then also supply other top level trainers and network with other health professionals, other physios, nutritionists, and produce a overall fitness package for our corporate clients. So I guess my job as such is to run my own business. I think it's important to know a couple of things on that. First, it didn't happen overnight. It was over a long period of time and a process. Lots of failures along the way. Working for lots of different organisations before that, getting experiences. And then secondly, I definitely didn't imagine what I'm doing today, especially back when I was 16, 17, 18. Back then, I wanted to be a physio for Premiership football team. That was the dream. So going all the way back to kind of that period of time, I was doing my A levels. I knew I needed a certain grades to get to physio. I'll be honest, my kind of academic ability was okay, but it wasn't the high level needed for the type of grades that I needed. So that was always going to be a struggle. So if anybody's kind of in a similar situation, I'd absolutely recommend looking at how you can show the application process, the universities, that you really want it and something a little bit different. So I did a lot of volunteer work. I volunteered for a lot of hospitals during my whole A levels, and obviously got my head down and started to work a lot harder on my A levels. I got some decent grades, but not quite good enough for what they required. But I still got my place anyway, and I genuinely think it had a lot to do with doing that extra bit of volunteer work. It kind of showed them that I was really willing to want it, and yeah, got my place. So I did 3 years at Keele University, one of the best times of my life. Met some amazing friends, and obviously learnt the fundamentals and foundation of physio. From there, I then moved into various jobs, went into the NHS, worked there for a couple of years. I worked for some sports academies. I travelled to Africa and worked for a Premiership football team out there. That was an amazing experience. The resources out there were pretty much minimal to none, so it just gave you that extra kind of, I guess, learning skill to kind of think upon your feet a little bit more, and moving on from there, I moved into kind of a boarding school and worked with some triathletes, some young Great Britain triathletes, and doing physio work for them. And then kind of worked more into the gym setting. That's kind of where I kind of transitioned more into personal training. I think one of the biggest advantages of getting lots of different experiences in different areas is you kind of figure out what you're good at, what you're not so good at, but more importantly, what you actually really enjoy, and what you really like. And I found myself liking more the end stage rehab. So along with a colleague, I kind of took the plunge and decided I'd set up my own business and work for myself, and we kind of matched the physio with personal training, looked at more kind of bridging the gap a little bit and looking at more end stage rehab, and then more into kind of conditioning work for injury prevention. Predominantly with triathletes at the time, and then it kind of evolved into more kind of corporate clients as well. So that's kind of how that transition worked. But I think it's also important to know it wasn't a success first time. So the first business failed. The second one, we moved location, did okay. But we closed that down, and then we eventually opened our third location, which has been a great success. We're now in prime location in Mayfair in London, and now we manage spaces for a group of hotels, and we manage a group of trainers, around 8-9 different trainers, and supply them to work with a lot of our corporate clients. And we network with lots of other trainers, physios, and nutritionists to really bring our overall wellness corporate package to them. So a typical day for me, usually an early start. I'll be in the gym more often than not at 7 o'clock in the morning to see my first client. I usually use the mornings to see my personal caseload, so I'll try and get through 4 or 5 clients by lunchtime. And then the afternoon can be very varied. It's usually for business admin, anything from designing programs for my clients, catching up with my business partner, going over the just general business admin where we can improve, looking at new innovations in the fitness industry, looking at the industry as a whole. Is there any new services that we can kind of potentially put into our business? And then, yeah, catching up with some of the other members of the team, the other trainers. So my most memorable moment, difficult to pin down, but I will always remember being in the middle of the Mediterranean on this 100-foot gullet yacht. I'm very fortunate to have some very successful clients, and this particular client had paid for me to go with him and his family and some of his colleagues at work. He was treating everybody to a trip, and he basically wanted me to run the exercise and the fitness sessions for the whole couple of weeks. So yeah, we trained on in the middle of like these Turkish and Greek islands, on the beaches, on the deck of the boat. And I'll specifically remember this one session and just looking around, amazing scenery, like crystal clear water. We'd be diving off to cool down afterwards, and just thinking, like, yeah, this kid from Barnsley, you know, never did I imagine like that kind of experience when I was, you know, first starting out. But yeah, that was pretty amazing. But for transparency, that isn't my typical day in, day out, obviously. So the worst part of my job, probably the early morning starts. My alarm goes at 5:30. I'm usually up by then. First client at 7 o'clock in the morning. But on the positive side, I honestly do feel better for it. You do feel the benefit later on in the day, and I do like the thought of doing a couple of hours work when most people haven't even started their day yet. So the best part of my job, from a personal training aspect, I think it has to be when you help someone reach their health and fitness goal, whether that be they've had an injury and you've helped them get back to doing their sport that they love, or they've got a specific fitness goal to achieve that really means something to them. And when you essentially help them achieve that, the gratitude that they give and your kind of self-satisfaction that you get from that, you know, there's just no better feeling, and that's really rewarding in our kind of line of work. From a business point of view, I think the best thing about running your own business would be choice. Choosing when you work, choosing how you work. You are your own boss. So, you know, the caveat to that, I guess, is you need self-motivation. So you need to really love what you do. You need to have a passion. Nobody is essentially telling you to turn up. So as much as it's great in one way, you do need to be aware of kind of that self-motivation, accountability part of running your own business. So the key skills in physio, personal training, obviously, it's a given. You obviously need to have a good understanding of anatomy, physiology, obviously all the things that you learn in lectures in your degrees and all the courses following that. But I would say, above all, the number one skill would be communication, people skills. You need to really develop communicating differently with different types of people and get an understanding of how different personalities, what makes them tick, what makes them work. Some people are going to need a more of a softer approach, some a little bit more of a direct, and just having that kind of ability to be able to work that out and then be able to communicate differently with those people is a skill that, you know, you need to require. However, you know, I don't want to put people off if they don't feel they have that skill straight away, and I definitely didn't. I was actually quite a shy kid, and it's something that you just learn in the process. But what you do need is a willingness to learn. You need to be willing to put yourself in those situations. You need to be willing to feel uncomfortable, and it really is a process where you're just going to get better and better at your communicating, at your people skills. over a period of time. And I think the skills for running a business are more personal skills, like being self-motivated. You have to have a positive, open mind, always looking to how you could improve things, learning from mistakes, not afraid to make mistakes. If you fail again, but just look at why you failed and how you can improve and how you can get better. I think the exciting thing is I think it's less about a natural intelligence for business, but more about getting stuck in, taking action, and having that kind of positive frame of mind, and having willingness to work on yourself. And I think that's the exciting thing, is because anybody can do that, but you just need to want to do that. So advice to get into physio, straight away, obviously you need decent A-level results. The subjects that they generally like you to have, human biology or biology, some of the other sciences maybe, chemistry. Sports studies is usually a popular one that they like, psychology maybe. But just go and get the prospectuses of all the different universities, and they will give you a requirement of what subjects and grades. But I would look at how you can make your application stand out. How can you make it different to everybody else that's applying? Because it is quite competitive. So show them that you really want to do the role. Show them that you understand what physio is about, and it's not just about the kind of guy running onto the football pitch. So I would try and volunteer. Not, it's fine volunteering at the local football team, no problem with that at all. But if you did that, I would also try and do some stuff in the hospital. Look at the different areas, respiratory, neuro, etc. And then also, if there's any other smaller courses in and around that your either sixth form or college are putting on, whether it be first aid. I did a little small FA sports injury little course. Just anything that just shows them that you want to do physio, and that you're going a little bit out of your way to kind of do that little bit extra. More broadly, I would definitely recommend getting mentorship. And by mentorship, I don't necessarily mean, paid mentorship with someone. I more mean like finding resources that are free, podcasts, YouTube videos, books. Like, they can all provide mentorship to you. Find people that have essentially already achieved what you want to go out and achieve, or are the type of person that you want to emulate. From a business point of view, I listen to, loads of different podcasts, but one off the top of my head is called Entrepreneurs on Fire. That's a guy that interviews lots of successful business people. So I'm always picking up ideas from like hugely successful business people. I don't physically know them. I don't pay for that. And getting amazing knowledge and skills from them. I also like this sports podcast, and it's more about skills that you can kind of take on board and then kind of relate into your kind of line of work. So, I've got it here. It's called Don't Tell Me the Score. If I flick through right now, you've got like the who's who of some of the most prominent people in sport. So just looking now, you've got Josh Butler's recently done one. You've got Adam Peaty doing one on obsession, Ben Ainsley, Eddie Hearn, all sorts of subjects from work ethic, mental health, achievement, dealing with challenges. There's just amazing like lessons and skills that you can learn from listening to those guys, and then applying that knowledge into your work, your job, going into business, building a business, or even into your everyday life, and just becoming a better person.